of Island Studies for, let's see, I said since the late 1980s, so let me do the math. That's almost 40 years. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Dr. Lori Brinklow. I'm the chair of the Institute of Island Studies, and I'm also the coordinator of the Master of Arts in Island Studies program. But before we begin, it's important to respectfully acknowledge the history, spirituality, culture, and rights of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples from coast to coast to coast, who have called this land home since time immemorial, and who continue to experience the ongoing effects of colonialism and systemic racism. This acknowledgement is nothing without action to back it up. And I encourage everyone to consider how we can, each in our own way, actively honor and uphold our obligations in a spirit of true reconciliation. After all, we're all treaty people. So I will just say a couple of words about the Institute of Island Studies. We're a research, education, and public policy institute based just down the hall, down there on the left, on the way to the washroom if you need it. And you can learn more about us as what we do by checking out our website, which is islandstudies.com, or our social media accounts. We also have a monthly newsletter, so if you're not already subscribed, here's a newsletter sign-up sheet. We promise not to sell your data to anybody who may advise, but you know, we have to fund ourselves. No, I promise we don't. It's just a monthly newsletter of Island Studies news that goes for around the world. So tonight we're in for a treat, catching a glimpse into a culture that I've only heard snippets about over the years, starting with a longtime friend of the Institute of Island Studies, Dr. Mark Lapping, who is from Maine, and he would come up regularly to do lectures in our lecture series or participate in our public forums. But he was always happiest when he was researching his family roots in the Sami culture. His name is Lapping, so I'm thinking that there might be a connection there. So although where Pigga and Lila are not talking about is not an island tonight, there are loads of similarities with island cultures. And what they're doing fits beautifully with our work that the Institute is doing as part of the Northern Arctic Islands and Thematic Research Network of the University of the Arctic, which we'll hear more about from Kathy in a minute. So I'm absolutely thrilled that they've agreed to share some of that with us this evening. So I've given over the job of introducing them to Kathy Snow, Dr. Kathy Snow from the Faculty of Education, who have known Pigga and Lila much longer than I have, and I think she might know even some of the dirt. So I'll pass it over to you, Kathy.
All right. So welcome everyone. I'm so pleased you're here, and I'm also just so pleased that Pigga and Lila are here. Their visit has been sort of paid for and sponsored by funding that we received to promote connections. So our grant was called Connected, and the project's idea is to share and build a network and get to know one another as members of UArctic and the thematic network for social, I'm going to get it mixed up, for education and social justice. Yeah. And so Dr. Pigga Keskitalo, I've been practicing very hard to do that correctly, comes to us from, she's a full professor, and she comes to us from the University of Lapland. And the first time we met, Pigga doesn't even remember, but I met her many years ago when one of my MEd students very naively sort of reached out and said, I'm writing about Sami history of education, and he asked her many sort of probably inappropriate questions, and probably questions she has answered 100 times before, and she graciously answered his questions again, and she more than graciously set him straight, which I appreciated, and the minute that he told me about that experience, I knew I have to get to know this academic because she's wonderful. So from that moment, I knew that this was going to be a relationship we needed to build. And so it came forward. And so since, what would be about 2016, 17, we've been sort of working together off and on throughout the network. And then later I got him to meet Lila, who's her PhD student, but also a colleague in many ways. Lila, I always struggle when I introduce you because you are you are a PhD, you are employed at Sámi University. You are a PhD student at the University of Lapland with Lila, or with Pigga, and you live in Sweden. So Lila lives at sort of the corner where 3 countries join, and so she
So the Sami University is in Norway, and the Lapland University is in Finland.
yeah, and I think the first time we met in person, because we had met distance many times, but the first time we met in person was in Nunavut, which was wonderful. And she led 350 Inuit teachers through a traditional game of yoiking, and again, the admiration I had when I saw you do this and get the crowd to engage with it was wonderful. So I've admired them, and I won't embarrass them by sharing their academic records, which are lengthy. But I will say that I'm just so happy to get to know them, and I now sort of call them colleagues and friends, and so I'm just overwhelmed that you are here, because it's so wonderful to welcome you here.
Yes, so dear friends, and thank you for making it possible to come here and talk of our work. So it's really nice, and we have agreed with Lila so that she can start with some yoiks first. It is because of her studies, and she is good in yoiking. Yes.
I'm not a performer, I'm just a home yoiker, and I do it a lot with children. So that is one very special yoik that is quite new, some years, and the words that's in it is which means to communicate with the earth, or with the land. And the yoiker that made this did it going to Paris some years ago through this, I don't remember the name of that particular environment thing, but at least she urged people and saying, we need to start to communicate with the land again. We need to do that. It's important. So,
University of Lapland, and Lila is our doctoral student currently. Previously I've been working with her in Norway. I was working there for 20 years, and I come from the northern part of Finland, and I'm working currently in the mid of Lapland. It's probably 500 kilometers away where I have been born. So I just wanted today bring some knowledge, short knowledge about how we work in Sámi land. There are Scandinavia, in Finland, Norway, Sweden and Russia, and bring some practical examples which may help you also here to think some points of developing Indigenous studies. And then I'm conducting few research projects, so I just want to share some of the knowledge that have been created there. About the University of Lapland, so it's an autonomous university in European Union and Finland, and of course because of that there are many applications for Indigenous peoples around the Arctic area, but in Finland as well. We have got 2 research institutes and 4 faculties and around 4,000 students and something like 1,000 staff or something like that, maybe a bit more. So we work a lot of this Arctic research and Arctic education, and our strategies are belonging to the global responsibility in Arctic areas. So we are happy to be here as well, and thank you for Dr. Kathy Snow for organizing this all. We are so happy about that. Shortly about Sami languages, so there are 9 different Sami languages, and we have got this kind of, formerly 10 but currently 9. So there is this language planning conducted. We have got Sami parliaments in Sweden, Norway and Finland, and they conduct language planning. And language planning is like demanded if you want that language in education will function well. So there needs to be some kind of basis, and you have to create every kinds of materials and language system and this kind of things. Sami languages are relatively small languages, and according to UNESCO criteria, they are variously endangered. There are less than 50,000 speakers, 35,000 North Sami speakers, and the other Sami languages are really small because next biggest language, Lila, shares only around 1,900 speakers, and then South and Inaris, they share around 500 speakers, and the rest of the Sami languages are less than 50 speakers left. And this Russian side Sami language, Akala, passed away around 20 years ago, and Gildin Sami is the biggest, and Ter Sami is in crisis currently. Yes. So some pictures where I come from. We both, Lila and me, so we come from the families who work with reindeer. So our year starts in June. That's the start of the year, not January, but summer, June, when there is this reindeer cattle marking starting. So we gather to places where we start marking those small cows. And of course, whole family is there with. There you can find me and my children there. I have got 4 children. And after that, calf marking, so we start working with other kinds of things like fishing and berry picking. There is my daughter and my husband, they went to pick berries. We pick probably 100 kilos for that we are able to eat them during winter. And then winter arrives quite soon in the end of October, latest, but sometimes sooner. So then starts this long period of taking care of the reindeer. So this is part of, children are there, they are going to school, and then after school probably going also taking care of reindeer. So there are, you can find our dogs, they are also there involved, they are important members of family, and then again fishing during reindeer herding. Children go fishing, and then there's lots of social gatherings also going on. So ends probably in the middle of May, and then starts this new season for new calves. So this is our year, basically shortly said. Everything happening there, but this is year, at least in my area. About Sami language teaching, so it's quite heavily regulated in those areas which are marked with colors. In Norway they speak about Sami language administrative areas. In Finland they talk about Sami homeland area, and in Sweden it's minority language administrative areas. So there are different kinds of practices and perspectives how they organize Sami language teaching. And outside those areas there are also rights for Sami children to attend, and probably they will get some school classes if the municipalities will, but normally they attend to distance education, means to Sami language education. So the situation varies a lot, and it's in Russian side very demanding. There is only few hours additional Sami language provided for small children, and it's normally culture-based learning. And about University of Lapland, which is my home university now, so we provide quite a lot also Indigenous studies currently. Not as much as bachelor or master thesis will demand, but there is around 221 ECTS study points that you can study Indigenous studies, language and art and design something, and Indigenous Sami studies. And we provide Sami education studies at the Faculty of Education. This is something that we have developed since 1978, and currently I think efforts to create more studies and start probably some kind of master studies also in Sami and Indigenous education field is probably coming soon, I think. Then about this project where I have been participating, so it was led by Professor Tuija Turunen, which is also leading this thematic network. So we were collaborating with Anne Berg from Memorial University and Mari Pinton from the UK. So we were like working with every kinds of diverse small children's group. I was working with one PhD student, Hanna Helander, with investigating this distance Sami language education in Finland. And this is quite nice project. It is like Finnish government funded project that it allows 250 pupils attend to Sami language teaching 2 hours per week. They are living outside the Sami core areas, and there is need for create such an educational act that they will start receiving more hours in Sami. But even this kind of additional language provision seem to give students knowledge in their heritage language. And there are similar solutions available in Norway and Sweden. So let's see some of the results. So there is a lot of variety how municipalities then take this education. You know, principals and teachers understand this in different ways. Municipality of Utsjoki, which is another most municipality in Finland, it coordinates and administrates this teaching, and it sends, hires teachers and sends the teaching, and then municipalities in Finland, there are around 200 municipalities, so they then organize school days so that children living outside the Sami core areas can attend to these classes. So this project has helped a lot, so that parents do not need to fight to get the lessons, but the projects project is organizing and helping, and parents were really pleased because of that they don't have to fight, but the coordinators and the project organizes. And there are 2,000 children living outside the Sami area, so we know only what does these 250 pupils say, but they announce very high motivation to attend to this kind of teaching provision, and also parents. They are attending there because they would like to learn their language, and pupils even said that they are helping their parents so that parents do not need to teach them so much. So they announced very high agency to learn their language, which was really nice, and it helps also teachers because they don't have to then fight against the negative motivation, but children have got high motivation and parents are supporting, so the teaching is in that sense easier. And then teachers also seek solutions how to work in an indigenous educational system in suburban areas, where children live in suburban areas. So this project started then to find ways that how to work there. So in Sami traditional child-rearing practice, there are these land-based storytelling and playful learning practices which will then socialize children to become part of the society. So we engaged these methods and solutions and thinking into distance education means, and teachers announced us that they have dreamed about possibility of working with these kinds of systems, but alone they didn't have the time and resource to plan and think and conduct. So together with this Sami language distance education project and university project, and with the teachers, they then created this kind of system that they could then develop their teaching. So we have worked with them 3 years to create this great thing, and they were really happy because they said also that this will help their demanding learning material situation as well, because the method itself creates student-centered learning materials and makes students happy to work with every kinds of topics. And finally, this ADVOST project is almost finished. We are like finalizing it. So I started with a new project this September, and we enlarged Sami language teaching research to Nordic level. So we are kind of going now to check how is the situation in Nordic countries. So we are exploring the frameworks, and then we are going to field and interview and make these focus group discussions and observe, and then create some kind of innovative linguistically responsive teaching systems together with teachers. It is so that probably teaching should be linguistically responsive in order to meet the students' needs. There are so many complications when you work with minoritized languages and indigenous languages. So teachers need to have special competencies that know their students, and they have got multicultural educational competencies, and they don't need to have scaffolding, deep knowing about scaffolding and about diversity, and they have to have also positive attitudes about diversity, and I think that is sometimes a challenge. And then about media robot lit 65+, I wanted to say this because we applied that also at the same time when this LINCOSY project, so we received this, and it is supported by Dr. Kathy Snow. So next year I'm coming here with my doctoral student Tina Johansen, so we are working with Sami elders to think about that. What does that mean that they are illiterate in their own language, and what kinds of learning and educational needs then universities and educational institutions need to create. And there is one kind of solution that University of Tampere is creating some kind of robot. I don't know yet what is that about, but probably I'm going to be able to tell next year when I'm coming here again, hopefully. So thank you from my side. There is my email if you would like to write me, and that's it. And I think it's time for Lila, and we can discuss afterwards. Thank you.
Are you sure you don't want comments for you now before I start, or are we doing the comments after?
We can do it afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just put it
Yeah.
here. Okay.
That's right. I have some problems standing behind these things, so I might run around to yeah. So my name is Lila. I know some of you know it now. So, and I am a PhD student, as she told. I have been working mostly within early childhood, but then slowly also moving into primary school teacher education. And so Sami education, Sami pedagogics is my field, but the topic within that is Yoik. I just try to give a little, some kind of taste, and the thing is, we are lacking Yoik within education. It's a very, very special tradition, and it's not situated. It's not there. It's not. It's very random if it is. It's even tend to be more in non-Sami, like Norwegian or Finnish schools. It might be more workshops on it. So I'm going to talk a bit about that. But, as I said, I'm not a performer, and the Yoik that I'm going to talk about is the more traditional one, and that was about communicating. So I was thinking before I start, I just shortly try to communicate something to you, and since I have been working a lot with children, then for children you usually would also work a lot with those easier Yoiks, like smaller, like more, somebody would even call them with other names, like do. Now they would say it's not a Yoik. But, so I'm going to Yoik something, I'm going to Yoik an animal. So my communication with you would be that you will try to understand what kind of animal this is. As soon as you know, you can just shout and then I'll stop. Okay, we'll try this one. It's the you. You should let the other ones. Could you have taken it if I went on? A bit of, you know. And you can also use that within storytelling. You would use the Yoik in that way, or you could just have, you could communicate with person Yoiks. I have a very, very dear friend. Her name is Maria, and if I remember her Yoik, I was thinking I should try to communicate something about her in the way I'm yoiking her. But also, in the way the yoik is made for. Usually you wouldn't say that you are yoiking about the person, you would say, I'm yoiking the person. So you could have words, or you didn't have to. And please remember, when you now start to Google yoik and go and listen to all those great yoiks, remember, I'm not a performer. I'm just like everyday yoiker. Okay, so if I remember Ingemaya. To feel well. Did I manage to express something of this? Yeah. And you can have words, just, yeah.
So did she teach you the yoik, or did you make it?
No, this is her yoik that her uncle made her. So she taught it to me. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to the more research part of it. Okay, so this is what I see from my office in Karesuando, where I have one of my offices. That's on the Swedish side. And just, you see the other side of this is where I am, and the other side of the river you can see. So that's Finland. It's only the bridge. The thing is, I need to say something about yoik with the approach from education. So yoik is hugely, like really, it's a lot of research on it. And it's connected to religion, to history, to social, maybe social science in that way, but music, you know, in all kind of different approaches to yoik and the research. But about children or education, there is nothing. So, yeah. I'm not going to read all this. But as you could hear, it's kind of a musical form, for sure. It's very diverse. So in some areas it's quite different. In some areas it was all gone. And in some areas, like on the Russian side and some places in Finland, it's a lot of words, more like songs, but it's have other name. Yoik is actually an English word. So in northern Sami it's Lohti, in southern Sami it's called Volje, in Russia it's Leut, or also in the northeastern part of Finland. So it has a lot of different names in the different Sami languages. So yoik is taken from the Norwegian joik, or the Finnish joikus. But when you are talking about, when you are doing it, mun joikkaan in northern Sami, I am joiking. Yeah. So it's complicated, but yoik is with a Y, is a very English word on this Sami tradition. Yeah, it's said to be the oldest form of music in Europe. It's very unique because usually you would communicate to yoik. It's if we don't want to show feelings straight out, which we might not want to do, then we could express by yoiking. And that was really common. That was like a very an important part of how you can express your feelings, even anger or happiness. Like if it was a lot of, Pigga showed the picture of the calves when you were marking the earth, and if there were a lot of calves, like it had been a really good winter and all the reindeers are getting calves, and it's just, you know, you can hear it and sense it. And when we were gathered, like you could see the picture that Pigga had, then like all the times before it was too a sin or hard to do the yoiking, then people would start yoiking a lot. But the years when there are almost no calves, bad winters, hard times, it will be silence. So these are stories that elders had told a lot. But the thing is, most of the yoik actually disappeared. And it has been revitalized since maybe the 60s, but it's still, but in some families it never died. So some families in many areas actually just continue. And they even know yoiks from like 8 generations back that has never been taped. So it's a really strong oral, yeah. And the thing is, why doesn't the children get this? At least in the Sami schools or the Sami education. It's really complex. Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I told you already, so that's the thing. They said it was sin, it was bad, it was connected to shamanism or to something not Christian. Then, of course, people would do it anyway, especially if they did drink something and they were a bit drunk. So then they would just do it anyway, which made it even more sin. So the situation was then that the Sami themselves started to kind of colonize themselves because it became too hard to handle. And it was really strict, it was really like bad. You were not at all supposed to do that. The drums were gone hundreds of years ago. Like, they're just, so we don't even know how they were used. Like, I don't think we talk about the Sami religion anymore, we talk about Sami ways of blessing and things like that. And the drum has been important, but we don't actually know how it was used. But yoik was totally a part of that too. Yeah. Today we have every kind of yoik. So we would have, you know, rap yoiks, or we would have, I don't know, like heavy yoik. So it's, and also all these role models are really important for the children. But then we are kind of moved away from this traditional communicating and showing feelings in that way. As soon as it got up on the stage and became performance, we lost something important. It's not lost, but it's not that visible anymore. And it's not for everyone. So, what happened then? Well, but then again, now in Spotify, YouTube, it's yoik all over. So of course, it's still more visible. People can have it, children can have it. But then it's more like a Western model song, which is also very important, and it's important for the children, totally. Like if it's a very good yoiker and that is really, you know, popular, then all the children knows and they would yoik, and so it is important. But I think we need more of the traditional part too. Yeah, I don't even know if we can. It might not work. I can stop it. So this is a very, very short, like some seconds. We need to incorporate the Yoik. We can use all this decolonize or recenter or recontextualize or whatever rewords or whatever, what something more needs to be done. And a lot of people want that, a lot of teachers want that. But the thing is, they're kind of uncertain, they don't know how. It's not, we haven't problematized this enough, we're not sure if it's okay. Maybe that grandmother will be really mad at me if she hears that I have been yoiking at school, or maybe, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't know exactly how to do it.